Hello.
Hello there. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Welcome to Friends and Authors Live in person. We are both in Ireland, and it's the first time we're doing the show in person.
Yes.
So, in case you're new here, I'm Rosalinda Roman,
I'm Ashvias.
and we do this show weekly every Tuesday. Normally, we do it virtually because he lives in Germany and I live in New Mexico. But we're at an author conference, Ireland's publishing show. And so we decided let's just do it here in person. So amazing.
Yeah.
So the best part for me is I get to hug my friend. But I wanted to, because I'm from New Mexico and my buddy loves green chili. This is the benefit
wow.
of working in New Mexico, in person, is I can give you an actual green chili in person.
Yeah, I work for spices, right? You can't get spices in Germany, right? So this is worth its weight in gold.
It is. We actually brought some more. My husband is here with us, and we brought that, and I was like, there's a few people who I think will appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, Germany's a lovely country. Great healthcare, great schools, but the average German thinks black table pepper is insanely spicy, right? So if you grew up in Texas,
Definitely not New Mexico green chili from Hatch Green Chili.
Definitely lacking on the spice front.
So it's been a whirlwind. I came from New Mexico to Dallas to New York, and then ended up flying from New York to London, saw some dear friends in London, and then got here yesterday. And I do still feel jet lagged, which is surprising to me.
Well, it could have been the Guinness too.
Yeah.
Right.
I did have
Guinness.
too many Guinnesses last night.
It's St. Patrick's Day.
It is actual St. Patrick's Day at this time.
Right.
And but we were at the pub last night. This is before you got in, and they had kind of this section for the event. I mean, it felt like hundreds of people in this tiny little room. Well, my husband is like, yeah, that's too many people. So we went to the adjacent pub, and it was just all these old codgers sitting there, just guys, all sitting at the bar, having their Guinness. And one of them was teaching us the proper way to drink a Guinness, which I thought was hilarious. I didn't know there was an improper way to drink a Guinness, but apparently. And so it felt very, very authentic. Our first introduction to Ireland. I've never been here before.
I've been to Dublin, but this is very, very different. This is more lush, green countryside.
We're in Shannon, which is green and beautiful.
West Ireland, yeah.
Beautiful. So what are we talking about today?
Oh, okay. Well, on the back of last week with our tech wizard.
He was awesome.
Mr. Danny.
Yeah.
We were talking over coffee, and he was talking about some of the changes with discovery and search terms.
Oh, right, yeah, yeah.
And
because his book just came out.
Yeah.
So it's top of mind for him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, as most indie authors know, when you are in the process of publishing your book on KDP, there are these 7 boxes for Amazon keywords. And for me, when I published my initial series, it was just kind of like guesswork. Like, it was prehistoric fiction, so I wrote mammoth, saber tooth, coming of age, because it's a young adult novel. But it was certainly, there was no rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah, same. I put because mine's mystery thrillers, and it was Deep South, militia, local sheriff. But how do you know that the people who would like that genre, like your book,
exactly,
how will they discover it? So there's, in what Asha's referring to, is there's 7 boxes in the when you're setting up to publish your book, 7 boxes where you can put keywords in, and it's a guessing game, really.
Yes, I mean, there have been folks who have courses and that sort of thing. But the interesting thing is, with AI, I know your favorite topic, but AI with the onslaught of AI, as my dear colleague would say, and friend, that's changed. So in the past, I think it was called SEO, which was search engine optimization. The idea of okay, if maybe what do people type when they go look for books? Maybe they go on Google and type, great historical fiction 2026, or books like Aaron Brockovich, right? That seems to have changed somewhat with the advent of AI, and folks are actually using AI, right, like ChatGPT or something like that, to try to find books to read. So it's a subtle difference. So what our tech wizard, Mr. Danny, suggested. He's such a selfless soul.
He's so
He
great.
did it for me. He hasn't even done it for his own books yet. But he said, well, let's do this. So, and I'm obviously, I definitely agree with Rosalinda that I don't like the idea of my stuff out in the cloud and the internet and
Yeah,
being
right.
learned on by all these models, right?
Right.
So what Danny did was he installed, I think he talked about it last week, Olama,
Oh,
right? Yeah,
right,
which is,
yeah.
so it's basically an open source AI model that he installed on his computer. So it's not quite as powerful as like
Right, the
ChatGPT,
newest, latest, greatest,
but
yeah.
it doesn't have to be,
Yeah,
right? But it's secure. It's just secure to his computer. And then he had it read my entire Eagle Feather series, which is young adult, right? And then he looked at comps, like the series that are similar. And then he looked at the categories that the series is in and looked at the top 10 books in each series. So it's somewhat comprehensive. And so with all of this, he built a very detailed prompt asking what the AI GEO optimal keywords would be for this series.
interesting.
Yeah, and it was very interesting because it read all the books, it knew the story, it knew the themes, and it gave us like 7 pages of data on.
Hopefully not 7 pages of keywords.
No, because you can only have you can only have, I think, something like 50 keywords,
Right,
right?
right.
But it was really interesting because it broke it down. It said, okay, well, there are these 7 boxes. The first 2 boxes should be dedicated to the series in uniform, sort of like just general themes throughout the 4 books,
Okay.
right? And then the last 4 boxes should be keywords or phrases unique to each individual book in the series.
Nice, okay.
Right. So, and the interesting thing about it was, as opposed to just ad hoc terms that can, because basically if you have 3 words, it can use any combination of those words in a search.
Right.
Like, prehistoric wildlife thriller, right? You use any combination of those, but it just gave you phrases, so it was actually less words, but more precise and more targeted. So I put them all in, and we've been testing them
Yeah.
for about a week.
Okay, and?
It's hard to be definitive about it, but my sales have increased somewhat. That might be correlated. There might be no causality
Well,
there at all.
and it's certainly worth, okay, so I have a lot of thoughts. One, the fact that Danny keeps it within his system. So
Yes.
if you have followed us at all, I am opposed to using our books to train language learning models, which is what Ash was just referring to. Danny, our tech wizard, he is very security conscious,
Yeah.
and brings in has it within his system. So he basically uses the tools to help you, but it doesn't train outside of the system, his system.
Right.
So that's number one. I like that. So it did ingest all of your books for this series, and now you're ending up with keywords. So really, you don't know yet. However, it logically sounds like this makes a lot more sense than throwing spaghetti at the wall and trying to figure out what your keywords are.
Yes, and it was very, I guess I would say, like, pensive and respectful of other authors as well. Like it didn't mention any other authors by name or anything like that, but it mentioned facets like in the series. It's prehistoric, and the tribe is developing technology. For example, they domesticate wolves into dogs. It's the first dogs. And I hadn't thought of that in terms of the keywords, but that's actually a huge component of the story, because the wolves turning into dogs is a big part of the series. And people love dogs.
For sure.
And so one like an example of one of the series general keywords was wolf companion novel.
Interesting, interesting.
Right,
Which you
so
never would have thought
I
of
would
before.
never, I would
Yeah,
never have,
yeah,
have thought of
yeah.
that, right? And so, if there's someone out there and going into AI and they like wolves and dogs and books with wolf dogs,
Wolf dogs.
wolf dog. Well, wolf dogs came from wolves, right? Yeah. So it should, in theory, pop up. I guess
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah, that'll be
Right.
so interesting. So now, how long will you give it to, I mean, like now what? What's the next step? You just leave it and watch it?
Yeah, yeah. I guess I mean, we'll see if a month is enough, and it's hard to tell if that variable in itself, just changing one variable, is enough to change causality. But I've already seen a slight pickup, and I'm not really sure what the downside is because I don't think AI is going away. I don't think we're going back to SEOs versus GEOs, and
Yeah, and I've been thinking a lot about that because when you do a search, just a Google search now, everything, the first thing that pops up is AI. So it's essentially, I was talking with our mutual friend in London about this, and he was saying, yeah, it's searching, the search comes up AI, so you're already using that if you're using Google,
yeah,
right?
it's the first thing that pops up. If you notice, like that's the first window. You actually have to opt out of
Yeah,
it.
yeah. My son always is like, "Why are you reading that? Scroll down, scroll past the AI, read from the
Yeah,
original source."
yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly.
It's pretty fun. Well, that's exciting. I like the thought of that. I don't like the thought of feeding my book into the program, but I like the way Danny does it, where he keeps it local. So I don't know.
I mean,
I'll have to think about that.
it is a challenge too in some ways because and people people have very different thoughts on what I'm about to say. Some are all you know advocates of it. Others think it's not that big of a deal, but you have seen lots of folks, maybe not lots of folks, but some folks, write books with AI and just spam Amazon with them. And so if someone uploads 1,000, poor quality AI books on Amazon, if you upload 1,000 books, maybe each book makes $20 before people figure it out. It's nonsense. That's still a fair amount of money.
I know, and that's what I
Right,
struggle with. It's
so-
like it makes it so much harder for people to find quality books.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, cream rises hopefully, but yeah, at some point it's like, well, when there's too many books that are just thrown out there because they make them in a few minutes, or I don't know how long it takes to make an
Yeah.
AI book, but like by the end of the week they can have hundreds of
Well,
books
yeah,
posted.
and to be fair, I mean, there are people out there using AI in their process. Neither of us do for creative content. And these people actually, use the AI as a tool and then do significant edits and augment it to make it a quality product. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about people who,
Make a book from it.
literally just spam.
Yeah, I noticed. So I've been thinking about this a lot because now we're at this conference, which I was looking at the schedule, and the people who run this conference are amazing, and I'm super excited. This afternoon is vendor day. We're going to get to meet some of the vendors who have gone out of their way to focus on indie authors, which I really like. Then tomorrow and the next day is the conference, and I noticed a lot of the sessions are AI centric, and I'm like, so will I be at the pub having Guinness? But then I thought, okay, well, I always like to learn new things. I always try to stay open, even if I generally choose not to use it. I like to be educated about the tech tools. I loved talking to Danny last week because I want to know, what is out there. But I was thinking about these conferences, and when I met you, we met at 20 Books to 50K in 2023. So that was a conference in Las Vegas, and at that time there was a little bit of like mention of AI here and there, a sprinkling in. I mean, it was there, but it wasn't like overt. It wasn't the first thing that everybody was talking about. The next year, 2024, it became Author Nation. And I noticed, I was actually a speaker that year talking about live streaming there at Author Nation. And it felt like, wow, there's a lot of panels about AI. People are curious about it. It was kind of the buzzword. But the authors that I talked to generally were not using AI in their workflow. They were talking about it, curious about it. There were sessions about it, but it was kind of still 50-50, I'd say. People are like, no, I don't use it, or yes, I do. The next year, which was 2025, there were many people at the conference who, I mean, I talked to a lot of people who were like, yeah, I use AI to write my book. And I was like, oh, that's a very big shift to go from using it as a tool to using it to write your books. So that's one thing. But I did notice it really has become the number, I feel like. Maybe it's because I don't use AI, but I feel like it's the number one topic that people are talking about.
I think it's definitely a prominent topic because it's changing the way books are written, it's changing the way books are edited, it's changing the way books are translated into languages or mediums, coming to audiobooks.
Yeah.
But that's the wonder of these conferences is you actually get to meet professional writers who make the bulk of their living still selling fiction, right?
Yeah.
So that's the tip of the spear.
Right.
And that is one topic, but other topics are like we're doing now a live stream, like how that's impacting.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Well,
and live selling even. A lot of people are talking about TikTok and how they sell live on TikTok. Yeah. There's a lot of interesting topics.
It definitely seems like, but it definitely seems like the AI is a sea change, not just for the book business, but
for everything. I know.
everything,
My husband's a physician, and the amount of the applications within the medical field for AI are astounding.
Yeah.
I mean, really changing things. So what are you looking forward to while you're here?
Well, yeah, just it's interesting, like just meeting other authors in different genres, and everybody has certain things. Everybody has a different process. Everybody has things that they do because it's such an open-ended kind of entrepreneurial field. And that there are some folks who make all their money with Facebook ads. There are people who don't use Facebook ads, who use TikTok. There are people who just do local events.
Right.
And there's something you can learn from just about anybody. Right, and so, but I collectively, I think that's part of it. But I think it's also like being with, I guess you'd say, my tribe, right? Like I relate to other authors, and just the conversations and the camaraderie is actually a big part of it because if you don't structure it well, writing can be lonely at times. You're sitting there trying to produce art and.
I was thinking about yesterday. So we were all not all, but many of the attendees are in a WhatsApp group having conversations leading up to this conference. And I was in Heathrow Airport in London, and there were several people who were like, I'm here. We're on the same, we were all on the same flight, which was delayed. And so I'm trying to finish my manuscript. I wanted to get it done before I came here, but it's not quite done. But it's going to be in the next few days. So I was typing away, and a woman came up to me, and she's like, "Are you Rosalinda?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She had seen me in the group, and then another guy's like, "Oh, I'm an author." And then we're like, "Oh, there's like all these authors that were traveling together," and it just felt like, "Oh, yes, I'm not the only crazy person sitting here going across, traveling all these different roundabout ways to get here, and all so that we can have that camaraderie and be together." And I do like to go to conferences. Plus, I'm a very social person. So
it also serves as reinforcement in terms of kind of the indie author path and profession and the whole no gatekeepers thing. Because it's one thing like if you're hanging out with the vast majority of folks and you say, "Oh, I'm an author, or I write books," they're like, "Oh, okay, so you have a publishing house and this and that." I'm like, "Oh, that's it." But then you realize that actually that's all well and good if you want to go that route, but you don't have to do that.
Right.
Like just being able to meet like 40 or 50 people who make their living. I mean, work hard and make their living producing art independently.
yeah.
Right.
That's a beautiful thing. And it's interesting, on the airplane on the way here, I had a lady sitting next to me, and she saw me typing away, and she said, are you an author? And I said, yeah. And she said, oh, I've always wanted to write a book. And and it turned out she's written several, like she's been writing, but she's, in her mind, she's like, well, but I have to figure out how to get a publisher, and I have to figure out this and that. And I'm like, you know, you don't have to do that, right? Like, yes, that's one path. That's what they call the trad path, traditional. But more and more, I actually am a strong advocate for being an indie author. I really push people. I'm kind of like, just like I am strong feeling about AI and not using it, I'm strong feeling about being independent. And because, so I worked in the mainstream media, I have had an agent, I have, you know, I've gone through that whole process, and I love the freedom of, I'm making the decisions. The mistakes are mine, you know, like, I don't know, you remember, I actually published book, I think it was book 3, was completely missing chapter 26. So that was my that's all on me. But then I learn and I grow and I become a better writer. I become a better business person. And I'm not handing it off to someone else. So for me, I feel very strongly that people should try to be an indie author. And then, you know, when you decide you don't want to do that anymore, fine. But personally, I think it really helps you grow as a person to try it at least.
No, and it's definitely, I mean, it's ironic that, you know, I write hunter-gatherer series because it truly is kind of a hunter-gatherer experience in that nothing is set. Everything is changing. Like, so, you know, Facebook ads seem to work now for a lot of folks. It's very possible Facebook ads aren't nearly as effective 6 months from now. So you have to find the next thing.
Yeah.
You have to find different ways to basically, I mean, in a way, it hasn't changed like since knuckle dragging caveman days where they're telling stories around a fire. We're just storytellers, but the mediums have changed. The ways to get your story in front of the right readers who would enjoy it has changed. And that's, I mean, that can be daunting, but that's also exciting.
Yeah.
There's nothing static about this.
It's really exciting.
Right? So.
Yeah, and what last night at the pub, when we were sitting there, the guy that was teaching us about Guinness, and his name was Owen, but spelled, I wrote it down, it's something like E-O-I, I don't know.
Yeah, that's how they spell it, E-O-I-N.
Yeah. And we started talking to him, and my husband's like, well, she's going to put you in her novel. You're going to be a character in the next book. And I thought, only an indie author could, I guess any author could do that, but it made me laugh so much because it's like, yeah, I'm actually going to. There's a main character in my, in the mystery thriller series, one of the main characters is named Dino. And I went to Disneyland last weekend. Oh my gosh, it's a blur, but I think it was last weekend or maybe the weekend before. I went to Disneyland with a friend and we were sitting at the bar having a beverage and the bartender's name was Dino. And I was like, oh, you know, one of my main characters' name is Dino. And so I gave him, you know, the bookmark so he could find my books. And I said, he goes, oh, yeah, too bad his middle name isn't Paul. And I said, well, it is now. Because I had never given Dino a middle name. And so I said, I'm going to work that in too, because I'm on book 5 of the series. And so this is the last one in the series. So I'm like, somewhere in this book, it's going to mention that Dino's middle name is Paul.
Yeah, and that's also the acid test of a friendship because, you know, phase 1, you put a friend in a book, and then, you know, the series evolves, and then you have to have that tough big boy conversation about, look, I got to kill you off for the next book. And if your friendship survives that, it's a real friend.
I know. I was thinking about it when I first started writing this series. I made one of the. She's kind of a villain. She's just an annoying person. But I happened to be talking to my friend, and I liked her name, so I picked her name for this character before I knew that this character was going to be a jerk. And so now I'm like, I don't know how she's going to feel about the fact that her name is being used by a grumpy, not nice character.
Yeah, I mean, that could be another topic as well. We could do multiple shows on just writing villains and how challenging it is. Like, It's much harder to write a good villain than it is, you know, a hero or a heroine.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. Well, and because they really make or break. I mean, they make the protagonist better if you have a really good villain or someone who is the anti whatever. Yeah, it's good. All right, so that's good. What else do we? Are you going sightseeing at all while you're here?
I don't really want to go golfing. Seems like it's kind of,
Yeah.
well, I don't really like golfing too.
Yeah.
It's kind of cloudy and rainy. Castles are cool. They don't really have castles in Texas where I'm from.
Yeah.
So
But in Germany, you have some castles.
that's true.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true. But I'd like to. There's like from looking out the window, there's a castle over there, and I think there's one big one
Right behind.
right behind us,
hotel,
right?
yeah.
So I don't want to go check out
Someone,
the castles.
someone said if you swing a cat, you'll hit a castle in Ireland. And another author is like, what did the cat do to you that you want to swing him around? And I just laughed. The authors are, so I used to work at Walt Disney World as a Jungle Cruise skipper, and they're the funniest people you'll ever meet. Like all the ex-skippers, they're funny. But the second to that are authors, I think. They are hilarious. In this group, the things they're talking about, I'm just like, oh my gosh. Random, very random.
Yeah, and they can be a force of nature as well. It's actually. I remember reading about the onset of World War II, just after the U.S. had entered, and Bill Donovan, who was the leader of the American Intelligence Service, the OSS, was tasked with finding spies and crazy, capable, creative people, and for to spy on the Nazis in Europe. And he said, oh, that's easy. We'll just go for lawyers and writers. It's trade them to be spies and drop them into occupied Europe to cause mayhem.
That
right?
sounds,
So
that tracks, yeah.
After last night in the pub with all the Guinness flowing, I could see
I could see that.
merit.
Yeah, add a little alcohol.
Add some
and-
alcohol and some creative types and drop them in Europe. See what happens.
Yeah,
right?
it's really funny. It's an interesting bunch. Well, we'll see what we have to talk about. I'm hoping that we'll be able to talk to some of our friends on camera and then use their little snippets, interviews in upcoming shows. I can't guarantee that because I don't know how. I mean, a lot of our author friends are more introverted, not so inclined to be on camera.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see my skills for talking them into it or not.
Yeah, well, Rosalinda's pretty remarkable in that regard, so I would not bet against that.
Remarkable being pushy. No. Well, that's fun. Okay, so what else is coming up? So I'm finishing up this manuscript, trying to get that finished. Oh, I know. The other thing I wanted to, so I was thinking about what is my goal for being here besides seeing Ash and some of our other really good friends. I want to get clear on what I'm doing with my audiobooks because I
Yes.
have the most amazing audio voice actress has recorded the first 3 books. She's almost going to be recording the 4th, and then the 5th one will be in June. And I have the files, but I don't know what to do with them, So that I'm hoping, I know there's a few people here that are going to be talking about that
Yeah.
and focused on that. So releasing the audiobooks. Obviously, I'd like to learn more about marketing or live selling is something that we've talked about. What
Yeah.
else?
Yeah, like for me, very similar. Like I'm at the point where I know the books are out, all the print books are almost out. Audiobooks is growing by leaps and bounds. I tend, now that the books have had some success, I think a voice actor is probably the way to go. I'm just, you'll be proud of me. I'm shunning the AI.
I love it.
at least-
I love
at
it.
least-
I have had a positive influence.
yes. But then it's complex because like if you write historical fiction or you write westerns, like okay, you want an American male voice with a
Right.
Southern accent, without a Southern accent.
Right.
Which voice, Because sometimes when I like audiobooks, I listen to them, but if the voice is off, it doesn't matter how good the book
I
is.
know.
Right.
It's so
So
true.
so there's a challenge of finding the right voice talent.
Yeah, and even my situation, I love our voice actress. She started having trouble with her voice, and she had to take a break. And so I thought the book was going to be finished in January, then
Yeah.
February, and now we're March. So there's a human element that
Yeah,
does make it
absolutely.
more challenging, but it's worth it. I mean, if you can do it, if you can. I mean, I also do not, again, I don't begrudge people that can't, and I'm not, I learned from 20 books that if you're judging someone else, you don't know, you're not walking in their shoes. You don't know if they would never get to make an audiobook because they can't afford it or, you know, so I recognize that's a privileged position that I'm in to be able to, to be able to have a voice actress and pay for that before I ever will see any money from that. I know that's privileged. I understand.
Yeah, and I think that's a thoughtful take on it, and You know, my 2 cents on that is it doesn't matter if you sold 5 million books or you've sold one book or you've sold no books. At the point in time, you upload your manuscript and a cover and hit submit on Amazon. You are putting your heart, soul, and art out there for the world to see forever. And some people will love it. Some people will hate it. Some people will write you reviews that you'll remember for the rest of your life. Some people that will write you reviews that you wish you could forget. But I respect anyone with, you know, the courage and follow through to put their art out in the world, right? So it doesn't matter if they use, you know, AI audiobooks. It doesn't matter if they hire human talent or whatever they do. If you're a self-published author and you put yourself out there, you have my respect.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
I agree. I guess we're in agreement on that.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be fun. Hopefully we'll bring more interesting conversations next week after this conference. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, should be a fun week.
And maybe we'll have some of our friends make little cameos. But I think that's about it. Anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, it's great to be in Ireland on St. Patrick's Day.
Yay! Luck of the Irish to you. And that was the other thing at the pub last night. They're like, oh yeah, that's American. Everything I was like, oh, is this, you know, do they do this or that on St. Patty's Day? No, that's American.
Well, yeah, that was like, and so like we were having, now granted, this was several Guinnesses in, but I was with a bunch of English ladies and they were like, oh, St. Patrick's Day is not that big of a deal in Ireland. It's an American thing. I'm like, I don't know if that's
No,
true.
the guy, Owen,
Yeah.
was like, oh, no, it's a thing. But certain things that we do
Okay.
are very American.
Right.
So, I mean, we're American. What do you want?
I-
But they were super
Well, I mean,
welcoming.
we've both lived in Chicago where
Yes.
the river turns green.
That's
every-
right,
every,
exactly. And green beer.
green
I
beer.
haven't seen any green beer here.
Not yet.
No.
But it's only day one.
That's
so
true.
We'll see.
All right. Thanks for watching. I'm Rosalinda Roman,
I'm Ash Fias.
and this is Friends and Authors Live. Bye.
Bye now.